Permettez-moi de commencer par me présenter. Je suis Wahid Labidi de la Tunisie. Je suis l'un des vice-présidents de la 41e Conférence mondiale du scoutisme. Cette première partie de l'après-midi sera consacrée à l'information sur les progrès réalisés depuis notre dernière rencontre en Slovénie, lorsque nous avons approuvé une nouvelle stratégie pour le scoutisme, Vision 2023. Nous allons aussi regarder vers l'avenir et discuter des projets d'objectifs proposés pour le plan triennal 2017-2020, qui est la prochaine étape vers la réalisation de nos objectifs à long terme. Cette session commencera avec des contributions en plénière. Après celle-ci, nous nous séparerons en petits groupes. Cela durera jusqu'à la pause café, après quoi nous nous réunirons de nouveau en séance plénière à 16 heures. Juste un rappel pratique, n'oubliez pas pour cette séance plénière de prendre vos dispositifs d'interprétation, car les contributions des candidats au Comité mondial du scoutisme seront faites en anglais et en français. Maintenant, j'ai le plaisir d'inviter M. Greg Turpey, membre du Comité mondial du scoutisme et président du groupe de suivi de la stratégie, ainsi que M. David Berg, directeur mondial du développement organisationnel au Bureau mondial du scoutisme, pour démarrer cette passionnante session de notre stratégie pour le scoutisme, Vision 2023. Vous avez la parole.
Dear friends, good afternoon. 3 years ago, we gathered in Slovenia and agreed our strategy for scouting, and we gave it a name, Vision 2023. 3 years on, it is our pleasure, on behalf of the World Scout Committee and the World Scout Bureau, to be able to provide a progress report on what has been achieved with Vision 2023 and where more work is required. As someone once said, persistence is what makes the impossible possible, the possible likely, and the likely definite. A strategy, even a great one, doesn't implement itself. So we should be mindful that Vision 2023 is an ongoing effort. We have a further 6 years to achieve all that was set out in 2014. This is our first moment to pause, reflect, and adjust our course for the coming triennium. As agreed in Slovenia, Vision 2023 is a higher movement. It is for national scout organizations, regions, and the world. So, this is also a time for you to reflect on what you are doing.
Good afternoon, conference. Many of you will be familiar with Vision 2023, but some of you may not be. Before we share details of the progress, let us remind ourselves of what it is and how we've worked on it over the past 3 years. The strategy for scouting, Vision 2023, is constructed of 3 core elements. They are the mission, the vision, and 6 strategic priorities. The mission describes the purpose, business, and values of our movement in a timeless fashion. The vision describes the aspirations and goals over a defined time horizon. In our case, over 9 years since the 2014 World Scout Conference where it was approved. It is where we want to get to. The 6 strategic priorities describe what we need to do, all together to achieve the goals set out in the vision. They are youth engagement, educational methods, diversity and inclusion, social impact, communications and relations, and all underpinned by a priority on governance. As outlined in the triennial report, 4 work streams were established to work on these 6 strategic priorities over the last 3 years. Details of these were communicated in the triennial plan, in the midterm reports, in videos shown at regional Scout conferences, and in the final triennial report, which you received all last week through Scout Pack, and which you received upon registration, a hard copy of the executive summary.
In WOSM, the strategy for Scouting is implemented through triennial plans at regional level, across our 6 regions, and at world level. As well as agreeing the strategy for Scouting in Slovenia, we also agreed the first of 3 world-level triennial plans needed to achieve Vision 2023. For many years, the different cycles of regional and world conferences have made it challenging to align regional and world triennial plans. However, the adoption of Vision 2023 created an opportunity to consider how regions and world could align more closely, whilst recognising differing regional realities. And we're pleased to report that positive progress was made by all regions in developing their triennial plans in the context of Vision 2023. This was achieved through regional alignment workshops, which helped regions prepare for upcoming regional Scout conferences, and they were further enhanced with induction training for newly elected regional Scout committees, which included the topics of strategic planning, monitoring, and evaluation. In addition to regional alignment, we recognise that many national Scout organisations also require support in the areas of strategic planning, monitoring, and evaluation. Whilst many are good with strategic planning, challenges are often encountered with monitoring and evaluation. And we're pleased to report that a new strategic planning, monitoring, and evaluation toolkit has been developed, tested, and published, which encourages national Scout organisations to identify how they can further align with the strategy for Scouting. And by way of advertisement, you will be pleased to know that you can learn more about the toolkit during a workshop on Thursday.
The Strategy Monitoring Group proposed, and the World Scout Committee agreed, to break Vision 2023 in 4 key themes. These 4 key themes were influence, growth, impact, and unity. These were then used to develop a set of 16 so-called meta indicators, 4 per team, to help us measure progress towards Vision 2023. The World Scout Committee agreed in 2016 that the 16 meta indicators were relevant and realistic, and work was then undertaken to establish mechanisms to gather and process the information from various sources, including national Scout organizations. So, now let's take the opportunity to look at the progress we have made against Vision 2023.
Let's take the first key theme, influence. The green arrows pointing up will indicate that we're meeting the indicator as of April this year. The green arrows pointing to the right indicate that we've not yet met the indicator, but are making good progress towards achieving what's been set out, and that we're on track. Let's take a look at the detail. So we're on track with the indicator relating to world and regional educational events. As well as the second World Scout Education Congress, regions have also organised their own education events. However, a checklist is still to be developed, so we don't yet have an exact number, but you may be aware that future world and regional educational events are foreseen in the coming years, and we believe that 50 over the 9-year period is realistic. Turning to global partnerships that advance WOSM's mission, like the previous point, a checklist is still to be developed, but the view is that the conditions are favourable for now building a small number of effective and mutually beneficial global partnerships. You should check out the Communications and Strategic Engagement Strategy for more information. Turning to our ability to contribute to the development and implementation of education and youth policy, a survey of NSOs conducted in April showed that 74% of respondents are currently doing this. On the final point, a first training for young correspondents will be completed during autumn 2017.
Now let's take a look at the progress we've made with the second team, growth. Our current global market share is 2.26% worldwide. This is based on the youth populations of countries where Scouting exists. So we're heading in the right direction in terms of growth, but there is more to do if we are to achieve the necessary increase towards 100 million. Check out the membership report for more information. Turning to GSAT, our global standard, 75 national Scout organizations have already been assessed. Of that number, 68% were supported in creating development plans within 12 months. This means that we're very close to 30% and can expect this to be fulfilled in the coming triennium. Looking at membership diversification, a survey of NSOs conducted in April 2017 showed that 94% of respondents were actively working and introducing Scouting to new communities. This is encouraging, but useful to note that of this number, 50 NSOs said that they need further support in this area. Finally, admission of new member organizations is also an important road to growth. And we have made exceptionally good progress on this indicator. 9 new NSOs have been welcomed, with the potential for more coming soon.
Now let's look at progress made with the third key theme, impact. To date, 3 NSOs have piloted one of 2 tools that have been developed for measuring the social impact of Scouting. Further rollout of these tools is expected in the coming triennium. Taking the next point, the survey of NSOs conducted in April showed that 37% of respondents considered community development projects to be an extremely important element of their youth programme. Of those NSOs that responded, more than 2/3 said they would need further support. The preliminary results of a pilot study conducted with the UK, Kenya and Singapore are available and make for a very interesting reading. We've made good progress, but acknowledge there's work to be done in interpreting the results. The final point, regarding funding, no direct follow-up has been undertaken with the World Scout Foundation on this, as we're still in the phase of providing the evidence through the study just mentioned, which the World Scout Foundation can use in further promoting the impact of Scouting to potential donors. But even without this evidence, positive progress is being made to generate further support for our work.
Now let's look at the progress we've made with the fourth and final key theme, unity. The same survey of National Scout organizations conducted in April showed that an amazing 100% of respondents already consider Scouting to be a worldwide united movement based on shared values. That's great, right? 100%. The same survey showed that 81% of respondents have peace and human rights education integrated in the youth program of their NSO. The next point, which you see on the screen, this has not been fully measured, although the data exists and will be compiled in the coming months. Efforts have been made over the last 3 years to ensure diversity and balance in global working groups. So this remains an item to be further elaborated on in terms of measurements. On the last point, the survey of NSOs highlighted that 76% of respondents had started the strategic planning process since August 2014, and that they had taken WOSM's Vision 2023 into account.
The process of developing KPIs and measuring progress towards Vision 2023 is foreseen in the coming triennium. With the introduction of the new toolkit, alignment with regions and NSOs will enter a new phase. By systematically gathering data and progress towards Vision 2023, together with other data like GSAT and census, it's helping us to build a better picture of the state of the movement. This in turn helps inform where services and resources need to be focused. And the essence of strategy is often described as choosing what not to do. So what can we conclude from all of this? Well, the good news is we're making very good progress towards Vision 2023. We've established a baseline and a systematic process for future efforts to measure progress too. However, the process of measuring that progress across the entire movement is not easy. It requires a lot of information to be gathered, and for this, we rely on your support in helping us with that effort. Also, we've observed that inside Scouting, Vision 2023 does resonate with people nationally and even locally. There is an awareness that Vision 2023 exists, that it is bold, ambitious, and importantly, that it's more than just the 100 million figure that excites people.
Finally, our progress towards Vision 2023 would not be possible without two things. First, all the great work you do to ensure your NSO strategy is in line with Vision 2023. And second, for continuing to respond positively when we request data and other information from you, sometimes, and we know, at very short notice. We are on track. Thank you for contributing to Vision 2023 so far. And that concludes our progress report on the vision up until 2017.
Right, now that we've taken stock of the progress made, it's time to look to the future. One of the most important reasons that we're all here together in Baku is to give guidance for the next step in our journey, the 2017-2020 Triennial Plan. In April, all NSOs received the draft objectives of the next Triennial Plan, developed through a collaborative process. Since April, we've received feedback from several NSOs, and we've consolidated that into the version that we're presenting to you today for feedback, reflection, and priority discussions. The facilitators that you're about to meet will explain how your feedback will be used and how you can propose amendments to the draft objectives in the Triennial Plan.
We have designed an exciting session for you to discuss the Triennial Plan 2017-2020. Throughout the venue, we have installed 60 huge, and they are positively huge, cubes on which the Triennial Plan has been printed. You see one right behind me in case you haven't seen one across your walks throughout the venue. You will have 60 minutes for discussion, after which we will have a coffee break. And we'll come back here in plenary at 1600. We also have 60 great scouts who will each facilitate a small group discussion of 15 to 20 participants. And can I now invite those facilitators to come up front here so they can be recognized, because they will be key to the next steps of this discussion. So let's bring them up front. You see, we have a massive amount because, of course, we're also the biggest conference ever. So, facilitators, can I ask to hold up your numbers? Yes. As you see, we have 5 colors of numbers, and they relate to the languages. Each small group will be moderated in one of the 5 WOSM languages, and importantly, the triennial plan on the cube is also in that language.
Facilitators, you can lower your cards now. So, how are we going to break up 1,400 participants into small groups, given that we've got quite a small space here? Well, we're going to introduce a bit of chaos into this. First of all, the English-speaking facilitators, the numbers from 1 to 33, are going to file outside the 2 main exits of the plenary on the left and right. When I give the signal, the participants who want to join an English-speaking session will go outside and they will be met by a facilitator. Once 15 to 20 people have been grouped, the facilitator will immediately leave with this group to the designated cube. Please try to mix as much as possible with other delegations so that we ensure a good variety of views. Once we have all the English-speaking participants out of the room, our facilitators in the 4 languages will line up in the 4 corners of this room. It will be easy to see them as they will be holding up their cards. But just remember the color of your preferred language: green for Arabic, red for French, yellow for Spanish, and black for Russian. So we'll now start with the English-speaking participants. We'll give the facilitators a few more moments to get out. You might want to pack up your stuff ready to go whilst the facilitators get ready. Okay, here's the signal. Participants who want to attend discussions in English, please leave the room now by the 2 exits on the left and right. As quickly as possible, please. Thank you. Everyone else, please remain seated for a few more moments.
If you are an English-speaking participant, please leave the room now. If you wish to join in one of the other 4 WOSM languages, please remain seated for a couple of more minutes. English-speaking participants, you can leave the room now through one of the 2 top exits. and you will be met by a facilitator.